Yo, what's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro duel video featuring the new Pendulum Magicians, currently in one of the, I think the best deck currently in the OCG Pendulum Magicians, but you know, there are a couple of, differences. There's some diversity as a whole in the OCG, of course, but for Pendulum Magicians specific, definitely a couple of options. Well, you have regular Pendulum Magicians, but for us TCG players, we have access to triple jokers, so that's somewhat different. Same for Omega, so there are some differences between, you know, the TCG and the OCG list, but, you know, using the TCG list and featuring the specific build of Supreme King Pendulum Magicians, a very intriguing build. Again, the build is not super finalized. I'm not a highly dedicated Pendulum Magician player, but again, it's just to showcase the possibilities, right? It's not too much different compared to a regular Pendulum Magician build. It's like going first and then, you know, vomit your entire hands and combinations on the field. And thanks to our TCG list where Omega is still not limited to one, you know, we can just special summon multiple Omegas, right? OTKing definitely an option thanks to the Odd Dice Revolution Dragon. It also has like a fiber jar effect that makes it much more easy to OTK, let alone that it also gives you like, well, depends on the differences between the life points between you and your opponent. But wow, this Pendulum Magicians in Link format, who would have thought, right, that this deck is so bonkers. Okay, let's see a couple of example duels. Dragon's Shrine, indeed, you know, it's like a huge foolish burial for your Dark Room that gives you two things, right? A special summon of Dark Room off of your grave, so that's already an extra Pendulum monster on your side of the field to possibly, well, definitely go for your ElectricMudkip, and second, search your your Supreme King scale, right? So immediately that one special summon of Dark Room does so many things, right? And on top of it, you can do so many more things, and the fact that both ElectricMudkip and Crystal Needle Fiber are still, or currently, I have to say currently, are not like limited or banned, well, not hit by the list, both at 3. It's just so stupid, the kind of interaction you can do between both, right? Most of them just go for ElectricMudkip first, get a couple of searches with Astrograph Sorcerer, you know the shenanigans, use Sorcerer and Bulb eventually thanks to Crystal Needle Fiber. The only downside to that is that you're main decking Bulb, right? There is a slight chance you will be opening with it, but still, if you can go for double Omega and thanks to Needle Fiber, synchro summon during your opponent's turn, that's quite disgusting. Another at least another example, again, the opponent gets to start Grinder Golem windups, it should be Grinder Golem windups. Definitely one of the hand traps still, they will be viable. I don't know, depends on the ban list, right, but I don't see any end date where we would, you know, run just less hand traps compared to now. That's the level 4, I forgot its name, the Abyss Actor, level 4 Pendulum monster is quite nifty. Again, a nice deck, it's just, again, put it in your Pendulum scale, it gives you like an extra Pendulum monster on your side of the field, it gives you more options in general, right, to go for your ElectricMudkip, and that's where all of your shenanigans start. Again, giving you the Astrograph Sorcerer shenanigans, and if you're going second, well, it's not that problematic of going second, right, unless your opponent has like 2 or 3 sets, maybe a hand trap in hand of Ghost Ogre or Ash Blossom or something like that. But if that's not the case, like maybe one hand trap, maybe one back row, or combined of 2, like one trap, one hand trap, the Pendulum Magicians can definitely play around that. You know, you have so many options to, first of all, get ElectricMudkip on board. And if your opponent is not going to negate it, or has the option to negate it, they'll definitely do it there. And, you know, then you're still having maybe 4 cards in your hand to play the game after that. Maybe establish your scale, etc, right? It's... ah man, such a disgusting deck. I've seen builds, and again, this build is based on one of the, at least some OCG builds I recently saw. But there are some differences for all these, yeah, Dark Worm builds. Some of them didn't really run the Chronograph spell, others did run it, so I'm not really sure if it has a place main deck. I think so. It's just an extra target for one of the MVPs here, the level 4 Pendulum Magician that's, you know, pretty much searches out your MVPs as in the continuous spell, but again, mainly the trap card, the Chronograph trap card, and the fact that Crystal Needle Fiber can Synchro Summon. Well, you know, start your Synchro Summon during your opponent's turn. Either go for another Omega or maybe make, you know, the Clear Wing. I believe its name is Clear Wing to Raigeki your opponent's fields. And on top of that, if that's not enough, you still have your trap card that can potentially, you know, Raigeki break like 1 or 2 cards from your opponent. Abyss Actor gives me an extra summon. That's already 2 cards on my side of the field, so 2 Pendulum Monsters. Go for Electromite. Yeah, a couple of builds, or yeah, again, it's maybe player preference. Running the Chronograph Sorcerer, it's not that popular. It's maybe an extra dark. It can also potentially trigger an Astrograph Sorcerer, and of course, it's self-destruction effect. Special summons potentially can special summon the, what is it called, Time Star or Time Gazer? Yeah, it's one of those two, right? Level 3 to your side of the field. So basically giving you a second, a possible second Pendulum Monster on the side of the field next to your normal summon. Again, Joker preferably is of course your normal summon that again gives you more searches, right? And the Star Venom, the fact that it can copy like any card. It can, for example, copy your Odd Eyes, you know, Fiber Jar everything away, make the path clear to potentially OTK your opponent, since again it will also gain attack equal to the difference to life points between you and your opponent. Again, such, what were they thinking? Anyway, double Omega, and this should be game, right? Again, copying the effect of Electromite, and that should seal the deal, yeah, eventually. It doesn't really matter that much. Another example against Burning Abyss, the opponent gets to start again. That's a very good start. You will see, eventually will be ending, I believe it's Cherubini and Dante, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe 4 disruption cards, I believe Double Fog Blade, the Cyclone, and Ash Blossom. Okay, that's good, definitely super solid field and super solid disruption. But again, Pendulum Magicians do have the option to play around that. The Dark Room, free field, no monster, so special summon it off the graveyard, from the graveyard to get a search. Fogblade has been lured out to try to use the Abyss Actor to get it on the field, which runs into Cyclone. Okay, that's all good. Normal summon Joker, perfect that he activates the Ash Blossom here, since again that leaves me, you know, Ash Blossom doesn't destroy. So again, that leaves me with 2 Pendulum Monsters on my side of the field. Go for Electromite, and you know, the rest is history, right? Again, have that established skill thanks to Pendulum Call. Again, such a disgusting card, right? But fine as a one-off. Yeah, get some Astrograph Sorcerer shenanigans again. Oh, eventually opt to go for a Canister. Maybe, well, no, Omega. No, I think Nister was a better move again. Bouncing back the Dante and get me out of the Dante Seer loop. Take over the Scarm, you know, get some nice damage, drop him really low. Not really sure if I would have been able to attack for a game. Maybe some other place involving the Odd Eyes Dragon. But again, I'm not really sure. But due to the fact he, you know, he drew his Cyclone, that does get rid of my trap card, so now I have like 0 possibilities to interrupt my opponent's plays. He does sacrifice his Beatrice play here with the Link summon again, but I'm not really sure if he has any like powerful plays left. He has like a weak monster in attack position. I try to get a draw with Formula Synchron. Again, Formula Synchron is just a tune on my side of the field. I still have a copy in my extra deck. Well, I mean a Crystal Needle Fiber in my extra deck. Worst case scenario, if I draw crap, I can just use Ignister and Formula Synchron to go for Crystal Needle Fiber. My skill is still established, you know. So many plays, right? So many plays. Eventually, I'm able to trigger my Astrograph, Pendulum Graph spell card thanks to my Chronograph Sorcerer. And, you know, again, the rest is history. Get a search out of my, yeah. No, doesn't really matter, right? Eventually he's going to enter Scoop phase. Okay, that's all good, all cute. Another example again. Not really sure against which deck is going to be. Again against Burning Abyss. Okay, that's good. The opponent gets a start again. Again, a very solid start, although his graph is going to get Ash Blossomed. Indeed, again, this deck does run triple Ash Blossom, triple Ogre again. And I believe the Monolith Maxi. In the OCG, everyone and their mother is running triple Maxi. Definitely so bonkers against Pendulum Magicians to, you know, prevent them from establishing their board. But yeah, TCG Konami decided to, you know, leave Maxi at 1. Again, yeah, this already is a game, right? Like a weak monster on my opponent's side of the field, and if you can go for ElectricMudkip, that should be more than enough, since again the amount of plays you can do afterwards, it's again ridiculous. You can do over Star Venom, I believe. Well, it doesn't really matter, right? He only has like the Burning Abyss Link monster. Ignister will bounce it away eventually, and the path is clear to again attack for a game. Yeah, there are some like opening moves that, well, if you're not playing Bulb, you can just go for Crystal Needle Fiber, eventually to search out Ghost Ogre again. Ghost Ogre to special summon it in defense position and just use its on-field effect, right? Again, those are just, I mean, the interaction, the problem still is, and I believe that the main problem is both the MVPs, ElectricMudkip and Needle Fiber. Like, the interaction between both of them, that's just too much. Currently, Pendulum Magician, at least the OCG format, is somewhat diverse still, but you're seeing at some tournaments, maybe high caliber tournaments, that Pendulum Magicians is up there, a little bit more represented compared to the other decks, and I think better compared to the other decks currently in the OCG, just because of this, right? ElectricMudkip, Needle Fiber, and so many board shenanigans you can... it's just unfair. Okay, 2 sets, doesn't really matter too much. If it's like, yeah, strike, okay, that's fine. Still have a tuner in my Pendulum scale, so that's already a potential Crystal Needle Fiber with any monster. That's the problem, that's the deal. It can be any monster, any 2 monsters, super generic. So both back rows are lured out, and now I can just simply attack for game. So this is not a super finalized build again. Just again, feel free to leave suggestions. There are so many options. This is pre-Pendulum Halt, by the way. It will be released in the OCG somewhere in March, I believe, officially. But again, inside Magician, the regular Pendulum Magician build at full force is again